Okay, we're going to take a look at a little troubleshooting here, because that's what this week is about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build a little control circuit. I've got a little power supply here, AC power supply, that I can turn on and off, and I'm acting as my X1 and X2 on my transformer. And then I've got some fuses here, and so if you look on my ladder logic, I've got my X1 and my X2 is my 120 volts, and I've got 1 fuse and 2 fuse. So my ladder logic is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to go to a selector switch here. And this is going to go to a light. Okay, so if I do with a red light here, that's it. So by hitting the switch, I should get a light on. So in order to hook this up, I'm going to go ahead and grab my leads, and I'm going from X1 into a fuse. I'm coming out of the fuse and going into my switch. I'm coming out of my switch and going to my light right there, and then I'm coming out of my light and going back to the next fuse here, and then I'm coming out of my final fuse on this side, and then I go back to my power supply right there. Okay, so there I've created this little ladder logic here of 2 fuses, a power supply, a switch turning on a light. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to boot this up, and I've got power there, but I don't have any light on. So the issue must be that my switch is not working. Well, when I do my switch, my light still isn't coming on here, so I've got a problem here on my supply. So I'm going to get my multimeter, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways to troubleshoot this. So the first thing that you could do, that you should always do, is you should figure out if you have voltage at the load. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my multimeter in here, and I'm going to set it to AC voltage, and I'm going to plug in, and I'm just going to plug right here into the load and see if I have voltage on the load. I don't. If I had voltage on the load, well, then my problem is solved. That means that my load is burned out. You know, here I could likely be that I had the light bulb burned out, or it was a control relay or something. That would mean that the control relay, the coil was burned out. But I don't have any voltage on my load right here, so I've got a problem with my circuit. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. You can work forwards, or you could work backwards. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start working forwards. Okay, so I have my meter, and I'm going to work forwards, and I'm going to start at my transformer, which would be right here and right here. I just jumpered that, and I have voltage, so that means that's good. My transformer is working. I have voltage. I then am going to move one of my leads forward. So this first lead here goes to this side of the fuse. So I would take my lead here, and I would move it forward, and I would put it on this side, and I still have voltage. So basically all I just did is I just verified that this wire was indeed correct. Okay, so then I'm going to take this other lead right here, and I'm going to move it forward to the other side of the fuse, if I can get that, and I still have voltage there. Okay, so basically I have, looking at my ladder logic right here, I have basically had voltage here, and I moved one lead on this side of the fuse and one lead on this side of the fuse, and I still have voltage. So I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to go on to this, I'm going to move it forward to this side of the fuse. Okay, so if I take my meter here, and I take this one off right here, and I just move it to this side of the fuse, I still have voltage. So what did I do? I'm now checking the voltage from this side of the transformer here to this side of the fuse, and I'm still good. So I'm moving on down to this side of the fuse. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my multimeter, and I'm going to keep moving forward down the circuit, and this time I'm going to go to this side of the fuse. And I no longer have voltage. Okay, so let's think about that. On this side of the fuse, I've got voltage. But on the other side of the fuse, I don't have any voltage. What does that mean? Well, that means that I've got a bad fuse on the one that I just checked there, okay? And so if you look right here, I actually don't have a fuse in there, so that means that, yeah, that's the reason why it's not getting voltage here, because I actually don't have a fuse. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut this off, and I'm just going to slide these over to where I do have a couple of fuses. And I'll slide these over. Okay. And I do have 2 fuses here, and I'll go ahead and turn the voltage back on. And now I have voltage again. So I'm doing well here. So I'm going to keep moving on. So this one, now I'm going to move through my switch here to get to one side of the switch and to the other side of the switch. So this one comes up to the switch. So if I take this up to this side of the switch, well, it's just a wire, so you would think that I'm good. Yep, I still have 120 there. And so now I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to the other side of the switch over here. I just keep moving. So once again, I'm on this side of the fuse here, and I've slowly been moving this along this way, okay? So now I am on this side here, okay? And so, once again, I don't have any voltage, so maybe it's the switch. Well, I'm not getting anything. Maybe I should move the other one farther along. So here's, on this one here, I could move to the other side of the load right here. Right there. And I still don't have any voltage. So, once again, looking at my diagram, I supposedly have a connection point here, which is one side of the load, and then I have the connection point here. And if I were to back this up one to here, I've got voltage. So here I have voltage from here to here, and there I don't have voltage, no matter if I click that switch or not. So it looks like my switch is the problem, because no matter if I click it or not, I'm not getting any voltage there. So once again, from here to here I've got voltage, but when I move the meter here, it doesn't matter if I click the switch or not, I don't have any voltage. So if I take a look at this, I realize that I'm on the wrong pole of this, the wrong connections here. The pole of the switch here is in the middle. So if I put it into the middle right there, then I've got voltage, and I have my light on. And so once again, at this point I am checking between here and between here, and we would expect to have 120 volts onto this light, and I do. When I turn the switch off, my voltage goes away. When I turn the switch on, my voltage is there. So once again, I started here, and I just kind of moved along until I got the one onto the neutral side of the load, and then I just kept moving this one forward to find out why I wasn't getting voltage on this side. Okay, so that is working forward. It could have worked backwards as well. I could have looked for voltage here and just kept moving back here, or I could have put it on the neutral and worked my way back around this way until I figured out, hey, I've got voltage here, but I don't. It must be the switch, or it must be the fuse, okay? So that's another way to do it, okay? That you could also, if you're really good, you could have used resistance, and you could have, measured your resistance here with a circuit and tried to move this back and figured out, how do I get my resistance all the way back to here? But that's a little more complicated, because you're going to end up with a series load, so you would have to decouple the transformer in order to do that. That's a little bit more advanced. I think the easiest way would be to work the voltage forward all the way, once again, until you get to the neutral side of the load, and then keep working forward until you get the voltage. So that's a little quick troubleshooting.